Welcome to this episode of the Context Podcast by Proof+Geist. I'm your host, Martha Zink, and this is where we get to talk about whatever is going on in the FileMaker community. I know it's been a while, we've been spending our time preparing for Claris Engage, but we did take a break from all of that prep to talk with Andrew LeCates from Claris. In this episode, we talk about some of the key focuses of Claris Engage, and just how excited we all are to see each other in person again. We have no stranger to the podcast coming back, Andrew LeCates from Claris. And we're going to talk about Engage because we have to, but this is crazy. Like we're on Zoom right now. We're virtual. We've been doing this for so long this way. And like I get to see you all in like less than a month. I think it's wild to think about it after all this time. What do you all think? Are you as excited as I am? I miss my people.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I mean, it's been great in 2023 to start going to events like Pause and, Engage You and some of the other events around the world and start to meet each other again. I got to go to the Japan conference in October. And it was like old home week to be back with all these, developers you've known for years. And so, yeah, totally stoked to get to Austin and see everybody that's there. So, yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I met all three of you at Engage or DevCon at some point. So, it's hard to understate the importance of this event. And really, I can say for me in my career, but I imagine for all of you as well, it's pretty critical. And I got lucky enough to do an in-person event. When did we go to Dallas, Martha? I don't know when it was, October or September or August. I'm not sure. But it was so great to get up in front of actual people and talk again instead of a Zoom screen.
Mm-hmm.
It is a much, much better experience to be in the same room with people and being able to, have a full interaction with them as opposed to, the kind of two-dimensional Zoom feel that we get.
Yeah.
What's your sense from the community, Andy? You've been going around and doing the road to Engage, and you have many stops on this road to Engage. What are people saying?
Yeah, I wasn't in all of them, but I was certainly at Pause. It's in my backyard. I can't not go, right? And the sentiment that is evoked there, I feel at other events as well, where people, when I asked why people are coming, there's professional goals to see what the latest techniques are and stuff, but the first answer everybody gives is, these are my people. Like I feel like I need to be connected, and so it's so good to be back together. And I think when I was in Japan, it was very similar. It's there's a professional relationship in that conference environment, but it's hugs all around. It's people that we've known for decades, and so it was just really great to connect. And in the case of Japan, I hadn't been back to that conference, I think, in 5 or 6 years. So it really was, you're missing people in a genuine fashion. So I think that's showing up everywhere, Ernest. I think the energy at the European events, which I did not attend, but from folks that did, was very strong. I think we have some of our best developers over there, and it's just great to be there. So I have a feeling that it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good when we get to Austin.
Yeah, we are in a smaller. Oh, sorry, Martha. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. We should just acknowledge this is a smaller event than we've had in the past, but probably about the right size given where we are post-pandemic and things like that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was reading an article just a couple of weeks ago about CES, or not a couple of weeks ago, just a couple of days ago, about CES, which is going on right now. And it's like the 50,000 attendees, and it used to be 180 or something. Like the numbers are way down. But the article was saying it still feels vibrant. It still feels great. People are getting together in mass, and that's a good thing. And other Dreamforce, some of the other events, they're a lot smaller than they were. So I think this year we it's an experiment for us because it's not just smaller, it's in a different venue format, right? We're on an Apple campus. We're going to be in conference rooms. And so it's going to feel different than the traditional DevCon or Engage where we're at a resort and have a gigantic space that everybody's in all the time, right? And we know that's going to feel different, but I'm enthusiastic. We'll have we'll be psyched to be back together again. I think to see a lot of the great minds and speakers that are coming there. And I think we'll make it work, and we'll learn from it too. Things that don't work, we'll adjust. And I don't know, I'm very bullish. I think it'll be a good time. And we are just about sold out. I think there's still a couple seats left a couple tens of seats left if people want to get in, and I hope that they do, because we'd love to have it 100% full. And then for the training days, I know that we've got more seats there available, and I hope more people look at it because we have such great content there, led by
Yeah,
some pretty
sure.
people who might be on this podcast as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we're excited. I mean, the training stuff is fun to do because it's I mean, for me, it's been fun in the past where you don't necessarily have a bunch of slides and a bunch of scripts. You have a bunch of techniques that you want to show, and you have some examples that you work through with people, and you get a chance to work with people, which is always way more fun. I have a hard time to just delivering flat content to people. It just doesn't feel very
Right.
natural or feel very very engaging. But when you can actually get involved with what people are doing, on their side of that equation,
Mm-hmm.
it's really great. And we're going to be covering a lot of good material because there's in the two sessions that I'm doing, I'm going to be partnering with Wim DeCourt from Soliant and also Bob Bowers from Soliant. And
Mm-hmm.
in those two sessions, we're doing the one I'm doing with Bob is really focusing on the new stuff that's come out since like 1906, which is a ton of stuff,
Right.
and
Right.
all very new and things that you kind of have to know, or you want to know if you want to be building apps in the modern FileMaker era. And then with
Mm-hmm.
Wim, we're doing server side stuff, both with setting up and administrating the server, but also how to use the server for integration, which is also really, really important for today. Because one of the things we
Mm-hmm.
say and we feel is that the server has really become essential to how you build, really high value apps with FileMaker.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
think
excited
I've
to
heard
do
that
it.
before in the context of the modern FileMaker revolution, or
You might
however
have
you
heard
call it.
that.
I might have heard that,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. I think there's a lot of power there in the server that can be leveraged, and Lucy and the team have been really focused quite a lot on making the server platform better and stronger for administrators and app developers. So, yeah, I think the two sessions you're doing to me are super exciting. The one on sort of the latest and greatest. I want to be there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because I think I'm going to be rehearsing for some things, but to me, the chance to get back together at an event like this and then see those features in context applied by experts like you and Bob, that's just so valuable, right? That helps people grok it, get it, and start using it right away. So I really appreciate you doing that. I think that's going to be one of the more valuable things at Engage.
It feels one of the things that's interesting about this one is that we're doing transactions, real native transactions, which have
Mm-hmm.
been something I've presented on over the years, but always
Yep.
with sort of the backdoor and the little tricks that we had to do to pull it off. And now here they are in the platform, exposed as script steps, documented. And that feels just personally very, very rewarding for me
Yeah.
to be able to do that there. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I'd acknowledge that I've seen you talk on the topic many times over the years and advocate for it, and so I consider you to be an expert, and I think most of the audience listening to this podcast would probably agree, Todd. I think some of my most memorable sessions at DevCon and Engage over the years, you've led to really give
Oh, thank you.
context to the things that we're doing and how we apply them. So, again, super big thanks to you for taking on those two topics. I know it's a lot of work to do both of them.
Yeah, he was so excited about both of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't give up one.
I'm almost as excited as I am about the other training session led by Martha, who is one of my favorite trainers of all time. So,
Oh,
Martha, I
thanks.
appreciate your work as well.
Oh my gosh, that's
Well, you're doing the thing that we need everybody to know, right? Like, if you're going to
right.
get grounded and really get the most out of the overall event, here's the foundation, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for doing it again. I know I've seen you train many times, and you're the best. So,
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Sarah Severson and I are doing that together, and it's funny you mentioned transactions because we're going to talk about transactions, and that feels very different than past trainings where we're doing foundation stuff. So it's exciting to bring this modern FileMaker stuff into the foundational stuff, right? It's we're going to talk about all the things, the layouts and the scripts and the calcs, the kind of the traditional blocks of work that we do in FileMaker, but it'll be a new flavor for it for sure. So yeah, we're prepping
awesome.
for that and are really excited about all the content we've gotten. It's so much more than just like teaching people what scripts are or what calcs are. It's really about how to think about FileMaker and it's getting people to think differently while they're doing development. So Sarah and I have done a lot of talking about that and how do we support people through being creative through their problem solving with FileMaker. So it's always fun to do foundation stuff.
Nice.
We get to hopefully create more excitement around the platform.
Right on, right on. And then we have the new feature. I don't even know if it's in market yet, Todd, or maybe you can, I assume one or both of you might touch on it though, which is the loop optimization.
Yeah.
The new features for caching. Is that in market yet, or are we still?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I get confused anymore. I'm in ETS all the time.
They're
I don't
coming
know
so
what's
fast and furious. Coming so fast and furious that it's hard to, if you get a chance to see the pre-release, and then, in some cases, we've actually been 2 pre-releases stacked. Like
Right.
we're, those of us in the testing program where we've got 2 or maybe even 3 pre-release versions and the shipping version. So it gets challenging to figure out what's what. But that is the loop flush optimization to make looping faster, which will be pretty important because, a lot of what you do in FileMaker is massage data, looping through it, changing it, modifying it, prepping it, whatever. And so to be able to do that faster is going to be a nice thing.
Yeah.
Can you tell the guys back there to slow down on innovation? I mean, just an urge.
That's what we want. Let's slow them down. I think Pete has done a lot to really get the team architected to deliver, and I think we've got so much new stuff that's coming as well in the frame of LLMs and some of the advances in AI that we have to jump on. And so, kind of in agile fashion, the team is adapting and they're going after it really quickly. We have kitchens stood up to work with great minds in the industry who can give us good feedback. 1 or 2 of those people might be on this podcast as well. Thank you very much. And it's really helping us to adjust and figure out how we're going to tell that story. So looking forward to talking more about AI and FileMaker and where we're going with that when we get to Engage as well.
Yeah, I'll have to say that's been a very exciting and collaborative experience. I think I've been in a number of these ETSs now, but this one feels different. It feels like wow, there's the connection to the feedback and the speed in which you guys are delivering things to try and test. It's just quite phenomenal. So very excited to see what's coming, and hopefully we can show some of that stuff. Yeah.
The model for doing those kitchens, we had done them in the past. You and many of our developers have participated in those where we would bring in, some finite set of, great developer minds from the industry, invite them into headquarters to spend a couple of days with the engineers and hear what we were coming, so we could validate essentially our backlog, right? Are we bringing the right features? Are we thinking about them the right way? And we would get such valuable feedback from folks like yourself about, wait a minute, love what you're doing, but you got to try, look at this angle because this is what I really care about. Right. And so we would be able to tune, we would be able to validate that we're going about it the right way, as opposed to ETS, which is really verification of features, and it's QA, right? Like, do things work the way that they're supposed to? And we got away from the kitchens when we went through the pandemic, right? It just didn't make sense. So I think we're experimenting with ways to stand them up virtually, get really small groups of people together to look at future features that we're thinking about. And it seems to be accelerating our ability to execute, which I think is fantastic. So very excited.
I hope so. Yeah. And I think the thing that's different about this kitchen, I don't know, at least from my perspective, is that you all started very early in the process. So this is not, hey, we're post design and you're coming to validate design product directions. It's like, hey, this is kind of green field. We may or may not do this, but what do you think? How would you do it?
Right.
I think that is different. That's really special.
Yeah, so in particular regards to some of the advances in LLM capabilities. Because they're changing so fast that what the feedback we're getting is what our developers need is different than our original intentions. And so we have been adjusting. In fact, I think we'll talk a little bit about what's on our roadmap and vision to bring new capabilities into FileMaker to embrace LLM capabilities better. But we know that they're probably not right yet, right? And so we'll be talking about philosophically how we want to build things so that developers have choice and can take advantage of LLMs the way they would want to, right? And using classic tools and mental models that we have. So I'm excited for where that's going. But as a way of example, I went to Japan in October, did a demonstration around some LLM integration functionality, and the day before, literally one day
Right.
before I got on stage, OpenAI had their
I
conference
released. Yeah.
and changed the capabilities and essentially made my demo, not quite obsolete, but we would do things differently, right?
Right.
So it's just one of those things where it's moving so rapidly, you just have to adjust and be there.
But there is a healthy focus on AI at Engage, which is, I think, really exciting. And some of the, I think just in general, the technical content I'm seeing here is it's pretty great. It's a lot of meaty, interesting things for people to dig through.
I would totally agree with you. I think, in regards to AI, when I talk to customers, there's a lot of optimism and a lot of curiosity and not a lot of conviction yet, right? Like people they're like, I think I don't know how this is going to make my apps better, but can we figure it out, right? And so I think we're going to be starting a journey. And at Claris, we're very pragmatic, right? We're very value driven. It's not about embracing hype for hype's sake. So we don't want to get to Engage and put solution ahead of problem, right? We really want to look at, can we just give you the tools and then figure out where does the value come from? And also, how do I address concerns, right? Whether it's, am I getting data accuracy? Am I using an LLM so that I can't trust what I'm getting? Or is it secure and private? Those sorts of things. And of course, the answers can be positive. We just have to share the best practices and good approaches. So I think we'll have 5 sessions outside of the keynote that are specifically about AI. I think,
Right.
Ernest, you're leading one of them.
Mhm.
And we've got 4 other speakers, 2 from Claris and 2 other community members. So I think it is a healthy dose.
I think
Really
what's interesting that makes, Ernest said that this feels different, this whole AI thing. And I think you're spot on, Andrew. It's like, this is the time where we're all learning about it together and we're all, trying to figure it out. And a lot of other places, I think, experts come in and tell you, here's how we're doing things, or here's what we're excited about. But in this case, it's like, there are a lot of questions that we're all going to work through together. So it does have a different vibe. And I think it's a really powerful one.
Yeah, a year ago, Christmas, so I guess 13 months ago now, I was playing around with generative AI and one of the image generators. I can't remember which one at the time. It wasn't Dolly, but we were just having fun building some new things, and then thinking about with these 22-year-old kids who are CS majors, about the ethics of it all and what it means to be building some of these things. And I think, is there business utility there? Not in that specifically, no, but it started opening my eyes to what generative could really mean. But then, sort of the intersection of that with data and my privacy and my security and all that, I was really struggling for many, many months. But I think there was an email that we sent out yesterday that Ronnie Rios on our team put together, a very simple little demo that leverages an LLM to allow you to do sort of easy charting, right? And the basic premise is that a user can go in with natural language and say, just show me a pie chart of my top 5 customers by revenue or something, and it makes it, right? And it looks like magic as a FileMaker developer the first time I saw it. I'm like, I could not connect the dots, because I could also say, give me a trending line chart of something, and it would do that too. So it would actually change the chart type. And I couldn't conceive of how Ronnie put all this together. And then I looked at the relationship graph, and there wasn't a single relationship, right? He didn't. There was no schema in the document, in the file, to enable this capability. And I was like, then I was totally mind blown. And I looked at his scripts, and they were very simple and portable. So I could take what he built and I could put it into any other solution I have, and I get the same sort of user experience with like no development effort by me, other than to change a key for the API, right, for the endpoint. And so it was, to me, it was the thing that opened my eyes to the potential to do things. And I should add the one other thing I recognized out of his file is that no data ever left the app, right? It was never sent externally to the LLM. And put all those things together, and I was like, okay, there's something here now. I get it. I can make better UI. I'm much more efficient. My data's secure. I'm like, now I really need to learn more. So anyway, we sent a little email about that yesterday. All that's possible in the product today. So I hope we get more conversations going on about it in community, and not just at Engage. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think the thing that's maybe missed is that what we're seeing now with generative AI, with OpenAI and ChatGPT, that's sort of like level 1, right? That's just the beginnings of this whole journey. I mean, we're moving to a stage now where we're talking about sort of a democratized, a democratic LLM access and on-premise, on local, in your own cloud environment hosted, where you have access to basically use a pre-trained assistant to do all kinds of magic with your what I've been saying, petabytes of data that's out there that we've already
Right.
been building with, right? I think that's where it gets really, really exciting for me. So that is
Totally
coming.
agree. And I do think we're starting a journey. I think it was maybe Pete was in a meeting recently where we said, like, philosophically, how do we approach this stuff as, from the standpoint of executing on the product? Is that we pretty much know that every FileMaker developer in the world in a year is going to be leveraging LLMs somewhere in their development process and in the value they deliver. We just don't know how. We don't know how that will be in 12 months. But we have a vision for how we can implement now, enable developers to do it the right way, according to our priorities about ethics and security and privacy. And then we'll evolve with it. And they are moving fast per our earlier discussion. So I'm really excited about this new era that I think we're entering.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned how AI's got a pretty good focus here at Engage, but if you look at the whole schedule, I mean, it's a broad list of topics that are going to get covered, right? It's, there are technical topics, non-technical topics. There's future-looking things like AI. There's I always get excited about the customer stories. They tend to be kind of whole platform stories, or, really unique and powerful ways that people are taking the whole platform to a very big level that maybe some of us aren't all the time. So yeah, I'm really excited about the lineup. I think that there's a lot of really interesting topics.
We've got a couple of great ones, actually, and I won't spill the beans on those yet because I think we're going to bring some of those customer stories to market through our website. But I think we've got a couple of good ones cooking for Engage that should be pretty special, that really show some unique brands in the marketplace using our platform in ways you might not expect. And then there's one customer where we just got to meet the CIO of the company who is developing with our platform and his journey, where they've really captured an entire market and an entire country and become a leading brand there. But the way they approached problem solving with our platform, it's amazing. They're fun and the energy is very positive. And just to see how our platform could support a company like that, disrupting a market was pretty remarkable. So yeah, I can't wait to share some of those stories.
Very cool. All right.
And to your point about the future, AI is not the only thing, right? We know that.
I was going to say there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot. I think, Todd, you were mentioning before I think we started recording here that there's a lot happening in FileMaker proper. Like the functionality rate that Lucy and her team are adding right now is just off the chart.
Insane.
Yeah, that part is exciting for sure.
It is, and a couple of interesting. I just looked up some dates, and because I know there's lots of excitement around Connect and Studio and what's happening there. And I just looked up some dates, and I think I have this right, but Studio launched March of 2020, which was a date that we all know what happened in March of 2020. So this will be the first big, large in-person meeting in the US where Connect is a real thing.
Yeah, Connect launched in 2020, right? I think
you
said Studio, but you meant Connect.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It was Connect launched March of 2020. So this will be the first big event where Connect is part of the full thing. And we've got stuff on Connect, there's stuff on Studio, and there's a lot happening there as well.
There's a ton happening there, and Connect is a very strategic tool set for us, right? We believe that. Again, I think this goes to the modern FileMaker revolution, but apps are integrated, right? No app is an island, and the FileMaker stack can sit at the center of a very diverse set of technologies and services that all companies use. And so we feel strongly that Connect is a tool set that brings low-code productivity, and now with where we're going with custom connectors, really pro-code extensibility, according to kind of our ethos, and will be very powerful. So we're fully invested in that and look forward to talking more about it. And then additionally, we're on an Apple campus. It happens. I know that we've talked about this publicly in some other forums, but Connect is actually fueling a new go-to-market strategy in partnership with Apple that's enabling us to open up markets, in particular right now the K-12 education space, where we're able to introduce our technology, starting with Connect, not starting with FileMaker, to simplify a very critical use case in schools. And that's, a greenfield for potentially developers to come into our community, developers who are in our community to start providing services. So we're super excited about what that means for our company's health, on the presumption that, as a 37-year member of the FileMaker community that I am, I want to know that this platform, this company is going to be here for a long time, right? I'd like to keep doing this for a while. And we have a lot of really, really good sort of ingredients working in our favor right now. And that's one of them.
Yeah. So obviously sessions are a huge important part of going to Engage or previous DevCons. But whenever I think of like past events, there are two places where I've always seen Todd. And it's either in the lobby, totally rewriting his presentation because he had some idea and he's going to go, for his presentation the next day. So that's Todd number one. And then Todd number two,
That was young Todd. That was many years
energetic
ago.
Todd. And then Todd number two is Todd at the exhibitor hall, like excited to talk about whatever he just built, whatever new products he has. So like the exhibitor hall is a huge part of the event and something that is really hard to replicate in a virtual space, right? We did a little bit of that with Auto Enter. And it works fine, but there's nothing like in person, exhibitor hall, walking around the booth kind of thing.
Totally agree. And I think, to your point, I think the exhibitor hall is maybe more important this year than in many years, because it really will, I believe, I haven't actually been to the facility, but I believe it will be the central place for folks to gather, right? And so we'll have a big booth presence there, and we have a lot of great sponsors. Big thanks to Proof+Geist for being one of the premier sponsors with Soliant. We really appreciate you guys. But I don't know the full count of how many exhibitors and sponsors we have, but it's a lot. And they're great companies that have been around for a long time, making great products, and some new companies making great products. So I'm with you, Martha. Very looking forward to meeting everybody there.
Yeah, I've always loved the exhibitor hall because it's sort of loosely structured around just what people's interests are and what their sort of expertise levels are, or expertise centers are. You see companies with different, whether they're doing plugins or add-ons or they're doing consulting. They're all there in some form. And so you can just kind of walk around and get a sense of the ecosystem. And I think that's so important. Like whenever I go to any conference that has a vendor session, that has an expo, I always go to the expo and I always walk around, because it's great to see what the presentations are and what maybe the main vendor is presenting out, but to get a sense of what the community participants are doing. And also not just the community participants that might be interested in something enough to give a talk, but community participants who are interested enough in something that they built a business on it that is working at least well enough to get to that hall, which is not insignificant. And that to me is just a really good indicator of sort of the health of the ecosystem in general. So it's important. And I've always loved just hanging out there and loved hanging out at the booth. And we've always had a booth presence, as far back as I can remember. And it's just a great place to be. Yep. So we of course wanted to jump on and get our sponsorship involved. In fact, we have two. We love booths so much we have two. And we have a pretty big announcement coming that will be coming out at Engage about one of our premier, probably our premier, or at least one of our premier flagship products. So stay tuned for that.
I'll name drop it. I assume you're talking about Ottomatic.
It might, yeah. It's something related to our Ottomatic platform and its related tools.
I won't make you spoil your powder. Just
by the time this video or this podcast comes out, we may have already released some teaser. I don't know what our marketing schedule is exactly, but certainly by Engage, we'll be talking about it.
I noticed the extra booth, and I was looking forward to learning more.
Yeah.
I think, we're actually going to probably put extra energy behind our own booth there as well. I think we have some new Claris faces that I hope folks will come out and meet. My boss, Ann Devins, who's our VP of marketing, she's great. She's been on board for over a year now, But because we haven't been out in person, I think many folks in our community have yet to meet her, and I hope everybody gets a chance to here. I'm setting her up, and this may be a risk for my career because you can't meet everybody. But no, Anne is really fantastic, and I found her to be a terrific leader and listener, and she gets development. And so I think being here will be rich for her and for people to get to meet her. And then we have some new people on the team. We have Angie, who's leading up our what we're calling developer advancement group in marketing, which is community. And as we think about educational or learning journeys, and she actually comes from other companies and she's very high power and just fantastic. And I want her to meet every developer possible. And then I recently hired a new fellow on my team whose name is Jacob, and he's in my product marketing team, but he is a veteran FileMaker developer, as well as a veteran employee of Apple, our parent company.
Wow.
And I was blessed that he was able to come over and join us and join my team. He pushes me because he's good, and he's going to become, and I think developers will just get to know him immediately because he's just one of us. It's great. So,
Well,
yeah,
so if you want to meet with the Claris people, with Anne or Jacob or Angie, leave a comment down below, right? And
There
we'll
you go.
track them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if like how much people know, but FileMaker is used quite a bit at Apple. I don't know
It
what
is
the
used quite a
stats
bit
are
at
in
Apple,
particular,
and
but it is. I know of several groups and fairly large groups that use it there. So it's under.
yeah, we typically can't reveal a whole lot there. We operate independently, and Apple's market message and the way they report the financials and all that. We're part of Apple, but we operate independently, and so we don't speak on their behalf. And so it's rare that we can actually tell stories from inside the company. We're working on maybe trying to fix that at this event. We don't know yet if that's going to be possible, but we will be on premise. We will be literally on an Apple campus, and I think it'll be great and inspiring to be there, at a center of innovation. So I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are we, 3 weeks away? Not even?
Don't say that. I still have a lot to do.
This is where Todd regrets the 2-session prep at the same time situation he's set up for himself.
It's always this thing because I love to get up in front of people and talk about this weird thing that we do here, and it just it's just so fun to do that whenever I'm given the opportunity, it's really hard to say no. And then then you remember that I'm also the CTO of a company, and we have all these other things happening. And
but you have minions. You're okay.
But these I have to actually do. Like I'm not. Some people can deliver other people's content. I can't, and I don't mean I can't because I don't feel right about it. I mean I can't. Like I have to know the material intimately, so I have to develop it. That's the only way I can be comfortable enough to get up on stage and do it is if I write the thing myself. And so that's why Martha's caught me in the the lobby reworking my session in the middle of the night because that's what I'm doing.
That's one of the classic traditions, I think, of Engage and DevCon, right? All the presenters come in a panic, and you give it your best because you're talking to the best. And but at the same time, it's just so valuable. I always find I learn by teaching, right? Having been a presenter for 30 years now, and when you're forced into that space, you have to get it cold. You need to know what you're talking about, right? And so it's panic leading up to it, but afterwards it feels so good. And when you finally get people talking with you, it's so rewarding. So yeah, I appreciate your efforts, man. You make a difference for a lot of developers.
Wow.
As do you.
Love doing it.
No, we encourage our team to speak for that reason. It's a really important forcing function. Makes you really know what you're talking about and understand the material, and it's all part of what it takes to do this at a very high level.
Well, and you got some folks who are pretty experienced at this as well, right? I mean, how many times have we seen you speak, Ernest? It's been a few years since you did your first session.
Not 35, but maybe close.
I know you can age me. It's okay. I've come accustomed to it. I still struggle with the fact that when I started in this business, I was always the youngest person in the room, and now it's exactly the opposite. It's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah, but there's still a bunch of new people. We have a couple of people speaking who are really new to the community. I'm thinking of Aloe and Barbara giving a talk on transactions, and
nice.
And yeah, these are young folks with a lot of passion for the platform. Well, Barbara's as experienced as Ernest and I, but Alo's pretty new, at least by our standards, pretty new. She's been doing it for a few years, but she's got a lot of
Yeah.
passion for the platform and loves what it can enable her to do. And we've got a few people like that on our team.
I think
And
that's
it's pretty
great.
exciting.
Yeah, and it's always refreshing. We have a lot of effort underway around recruitment and building the space that we can bring new people into the community, and you guys are helping drive that. I was privileged to meet Alo at Pause, right? And yeah, I love it. So looking forward to that content as well. And then who's doing the FileMaker demo?
I was
That
about to
pretty
say,
cool.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
think you saw.
Peter.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
he did a presentation of that at Pause, and I think all of us were like, you have to do that at Engage too, right? Like, there's not a choice. And so I'm glad it all worked out. But I recently looked at his slides, and it's going to be so fun. I think it's such a cool way of talking through things and thinking through things, and he's a great presenter. So I think it'll be a fun one. I hope everyone attends.
Yeah, that was a big hit. I actually did not get to see him at Pause, but there was so much buzz about it, and I'm interested to see that presentation. I hope I'm able to at this one. So
Very cool.
yeah, but getting very
Yeah,
excited.
I think what's super important about these events, but also in particular talks like Peter's, which is going to be different than what most people have probably seen, right?
Mhm.
Because it deals with it's got some physical, real world integrations happening, and just a different way of thinking about the platform and what you can do with it, and it will open some eyes. It will expand what people can imagine they can do with this platform, and that is always the fun part about going to these events. It's like, oh wow, I have a use case for that. I know what I can use that
Mhm.
for. And you come back inspired and energized to take on those new problems or old problems and solve them in a new way.
Right on.
Pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at my other monitor right now at the list of speakers, and we have a great blend this year. There's a lot of folks that people have seen present for many years, and you're right, there are a good number of new faces this year. So it's a good blend. I'm looking forward to it. We have a super secret cabal that picks the sessions and all that, and I didn't get to select them all this year by any stretch. So for me, it's a little bit of discovery going in to figure out what people want to talk about. I'm
It's a solid list.
starting to make my plans.
Yeah, it's exciting to see how
It's a
it all
solid
came
list. We
together.
got a good list from Claris too. I think we're bringing Clay Mackel, our senior architect on FileMaker, to talk about the FileMaker platform, and that's always awesome, right? Because he knows more than anybody, right? And so it's great to talk to him, and he'll be joined by Lucy Chen, who leads up our development team on FileMaker. And so I think there we'll get a good mix of what the team has been cooking into the product recently, as well as what we're looking at going forward. We've got probably a new face for many, Bridget Lum, who's coming to talk about Studio. And I think people are going to be shocked to see some of what she's got to show, like and where we're taking Studio and how quickly we're doing it. So I'm really enthusiastic and excited for her. Of course, we got Louis, who he's a member of the community that we were lucky enough to hire in a couple of years ago, and he's going to be talking about Connect and the platform integrations and how that comes together. And who else? Ronnie Rios he's at the one of our leading thinkers right now at Claris. Ronnie, I'm privileged to have hired him into our SE team years ago, and he's worked his way into the product team, and he's playing with AI and making magic happen, and it's just inspiring to see. So, yeah, I think we've got a great lineup, and I hope people will come to check them out.
It really is wild to think that we're all going to be in the same building. Like, I can't. Again, it's been years of like doing this virtually and like jumping on on a webinar or whatever to watch these people. So that's all been great, but like. Right. It's a totally different. I mean, I'm just getting so pumped at this idea of just being able to bump into people in the hallway.
It matters. Like, I mean, Andy just talked about Clay showing up at these things, and Clay shows up at these things. He talks to developers, and features appear in the product because of that. I know several things. Like the last one was on window transaction, came from conversations that Clay had at community events with actual developers. And Clay, he does that thing where he sits back and he looks up to the right and he thinks, what about this? And then, next version, there's the feature, in there. And that comes because we're together, really.
Yeah, there's no doubt that, sometimes I just sit back and wonder if I reflect on the fact that the platform has been around for almost 40 years, right? And it's been certainly a central thesis to my career. But it's the stewardship of guys like Clay who have really made it happen. The original vision for this platform was just unique and special, and the way it's evolved with our community has been unique and special. And we're talking build the future at Engage because we believe there's another 40 years in this platform, right? And so we want to make sure everybody knows where we're going with it. And
I might retire by then. Might. Maybe in 40 years.
There's no
I might
way.
retire by then, but I'll probably still be playing.
There's no way. I don't see it.
Maybe.
We'll still be playing with tech, man. We're going to be doing it. I'm actually a little bit side segue, I guess, or a side note is that Apple's going to be bouncing that new Vision Pro out.
Oh yes.
And I'm really like so close. I may pull the trigger next Friday and just see if I can have one before we get
That's
there.
Awesome.
Well, if there's a BOGO special, yeah.
I'm just sorry, interrupting again. The sound's a little delayed. We may actually have something that is not directly Vision Pro, but related to Vision Pro happening at one of our booths. So you might want to come by and see some of that as well.
Well, I will say that Jacob on my team, who came over from Apple, and a good number of people at Claris have been able to test out the Vision Pro and experience it. And it is, by all accounts, amazing. One of the disadvantages of me living away from headquarters across the country is it's not immediately available to me. But from everything I hear, I can't wait to get my eyes on the product. So
if it can just give me a virtual 100-foot monitor for me to code on, I'm in. Right? I don't even care about the AR and the VR stuff. But if you can just give me a giant monitor that doesn't weigh 25 pounds, and then I can take it, put it in my van, and drive down to the beach and work there on a giant monitor, then that will be all. I'll shill out the money just for that.
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm sitting.
Give me my relationship graph on that giant screen.
That's right. I have 3 monitors staring me in the face right now, right? And to make that just one giant canvas could be pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
I don't speak for Apple. I think of it as a developer. Like, how do I want to use it? How do I want an experience in my workspace? And my personal opinion, not my company's, but I just think Apple's going the right way to build a platform, to build an entire computing platform, as opposed to making it a device to attach to a game machine or something, right? It looks good to me, and all the stories I hear are amazing. So
awesome.
Here we go.
Well, if one happens to fall off the trunk.
The unfortunate reality is we don't know internally if we're going to be able to get special access to purchase or anything like that. So I'll probably be in the queue with the rest of the world next week, and we'll just have to do it and see if we.
Oh man! Well, hopefully you'll have them. Tell us more about it while we're there.
If I'm lucky, no promises. We'll see. I've got a fair amount of time to devote to preparing.
True.
So even if I have one, will I get a chance to use it before we get there? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to even think about it until after this is over. But it's going to be. I don't know. I think it could be transformative. We'll see. It's one of these things it's one of these patterns that we've seen from Apple before, right? Other devices come out, they kind of point at what's possible, but also what doesn't work very well. And then Apple comes out with one that kind of gets rid of all the stuff that doesn't work very well. And really the rest is history. Go from 8 billion to 3 trillion in valuation based on that model alone. Hopefully this is another hit.
I hope so as well. And not for the stock, but just because I think I've experienced headsets and VR with other devices, and they've been kind of interesting and curious, but they didn't really capture me. Right. When I saw the presentation on the Vision Pro, I was like, oh, I think we're almost there. Like this gets it. So yeah, if this is the start of a new platform or a new experience that's going to take off, I think I want to be there and understand it. Just as a technology nerd, I just want to know where this might be going. I don't expect that it's going to replace my desktop and my phone and my watch, but my watch didn't replace my phone and my phone didn't replace my desktop, but they all work together very well, right? So we'll see.
I feel like I want to just recap a little bit about what's coming at Engage, because we talked about a lot of things and it can get lost as to what there actually is. But I got a list here of just the large sort of topics. and just to run through them. So first of all, I mean, these are so we've got a whole new focus on AI. We've got new stuff on Connect. We've got new stuff on Studio. We've got new stuff that we're probably going to see some on what's coming in FileMaker. And just in case people were not aware, I mean, we talked a little bit about how fast and furious it is, but just to put some numbers on that, like in a future release, we're looking at for server, I've got the numbers right here, something like 47 new features on coming to server, and dozens of bug fixes. So the innovation is just, even on what we think of as the old FileMaker platform, is just so impressive. And so all of those things are happening, and we've only got 2 days. It's going to be packed full of fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I hope the 2 days are really sort of a kickstart as well to just community engagement, right? I think we have a lot to talk about this coming year. I want Claris people to be on your podcast all the time. I want us to be in community talking about this stuff all the time and sharing ideas and new best practices and all the things, right? So, yeah, I think if nothing else, just getting together, receiving each other, knowing how much is there to learn and do. I think 2024 is going to be super exciting.
It is
good stuff.
Can't wait.
All right, so
thanks in advance to all the presenters. If anybody's listening, any of the presenters are listening to this, I just want to thank them in advance, because I know there's a lot of work that goes into it, and the best content comes from the 100%. Field. It's you guys knowing how to apply this stuff that teaches all. So thank you very much.
So
thanks, Andy.
We get to see you next time. I get to hug you, high five you. I'm gonna bump you in the hallways and make you talk to me. It's gonna be great. All right. So this is
you're always first.
This is so exciting. So we're old friends, new faces, exciting tech. I mean, there's so much that's gonna happen here. So Andy, thanks for taking the time to just talk through this and remind us what we're all excited about. People will find you at the booth. You'll find Todd and Ernest and me at the Proof+Geist booth or the Ottomatic booth. And we hope everyone stops by and says hi. But we can't wait.
100%.
Can't wait to see y'all.
I don't have my own individual session this year, which is kind of unique. But I will be maximally present and seeing as many sessions and as much time in the booth as I can.
I can probably slice off a few chunks of things in my session if you want to help out.
Come right on over.
Come on over. Come on over. We'll put you to work.
You can do my AI session.
I will be using left semicolon will be how I leave.
Exactly. All right. Thank you all. I can't wait to see you all in person, but I appreciate your time now. Thanks.
Yeah,
thank you.
See you soon.
Bye-bye now.
Just as a reminder, this is available on YouTube and as a podcast, and make sure you check out the show notes, as there are a lot of links to share there. If you can take a minute to pause and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it, but better yet, if you can share it with a friend, that would be pretty awesome. No matter what your role is in this community, you're proof of how amazing this Claris community really is. My job is to help spread your knowledge and your stories on the podcast. Find me on Twitter at MZ123 or at Proof+Geist, and let's share your story.